In the spirit of No Nut November, as per tradition, I take a look at some of the most cursed Eroge imaginable. And today, that's the sequel to the infamous dark fantasy Eroge, Kuru Inu. I've already covered the original game before and labeled it as quite possibly the worst visual novel I read that year, which only begs the question, why the hell is there a second one? Have its readers gone off the deep end, or is there actual legitimate value to this? So in order to find out the truth behind Kuru Inu 2, Sexual Assault Boogaloo, I'm gonna leave my morals at the door once again to see if this deranged title has any merit at all. Thanks to Shirvine for providing me a review copy and for showing me the prime example of, if I'm gonna commit war crimes, I'm gonna make it look epically hot. In case you are unaware, in which I'm sorry, here are your warnings, Kuru Inu is edgy adult dark fantasy taken to the extreme, in which it is motivated by sex and sex alone. Kuru Inu takes pride in the oh so wonderful acts of rape, pillaging, and burning entire towns to the ground. Is there a justifiable reason? Nah. They are just living their best life. The male urge to revert back to primal monk form. Me and the boys when we come in the same whore. Kuru Inu pursues ruthless, degenerate extremes when it comes to this type of content. Beating her in battle before turning her into human cattle. Whoring her out to the streets to prepare for the sheets. It is a glorified showcase of the winner dominating over the loser. And making the most of it too. I'm not even gonna try to argue it. In fact, I'm gonna do the same. Welcome to the first ever award show for the worst, terrible, horrific H scenes in this visual novel. Pending title. The award for the most brutal scene goes to Luca, the dark, slender half-elf for getting a full 19 inches of ogre right up her bum. The award for the most repulsive scene goes again to Luca, where her only meal for today are buttholes with a nice warm cup of man milk. And finally, the award for my personal favorite goes to our main character putting an arrogant woman in her place, giving that empress what she fucking deserved. For those not in the know, Kuru Inu 2 takes place 150 years after the first game. We follow the story of Derek as he leads his mercenary army underneath the banner of the Service Nation, a place where all women are obligated to sexual servitude. He operates in accordance to his desires, not only for himself and his faithful soldiers, but also in servitude towards the Service Nation's ruler, the Empress Succubus Ladomira. For now, anyway. Only in Kuru Inu 2 can you self-insert as the faithful retainer, aka the second-in-command schemer wanting to topple the throne, or, arguably, restore the kingdom to its rightful leader. Miss Dami Mommy Overlord made the fatal mistake of drafting men for her own personal pleasure, which, historically speaking, has never worked. Well, you know what they say, speak softly but also carry a giant cock. Wait. You may be wondering, do I need to play the first game? And the quick answer to that is no. For what little fantasy plot there was in the first game, I'll give Kuru Inu 2 points for actually having one. It plays it straight as an all-out fantasy war between the two opposing factions, Derek's army and the Holy Alliance, as we see the ongoing struggle, the devious tactics at play, and the declining hopelessness from the Holy Alliance. I honestly can't believe it either. There's actual effort in here compared to the writing equivalent of 5 slow pan frames from the first game. It ain't much, but I'll take anything that isn't just sex, no substance. God forbid a person asking for plot in his erotic fat material, even if it is about a man plowing through, leaving a trail of destruction and blood in his wake. However, all of that was merely the first half, for the real story is Kuru Inu's declassified guide on how to become a prostitute whore. And like in the previous installment, you can select between your list of scantily clad merchandise, featuring one magical big booby witch, Tamamo no incest issues, my faithful tomboy dark half-elf, an Arabian princess with a body count of entire civilizations, this one's my personal favorite, every hentai fantasy knight, the reincarnation of God, a walking VN disclaimer, and the classic H-MILF, aka the holy mother I like to fuck. All of them have their own unique motivations and colorful personalities, emphasized through their inner thoughts and feelings, and the non-consensual screams of pain. The service half of the story is designed for one thing and one thing only, to break them. Derek examines each of the girls and comes up with one carefully considered plan to execute, to which the girls desperately attempt to persevere and overcome. Spoiler alert, they don't. In every H scene, Kuru Inu's dialogue and script proceeds to embarrass and humiliate them. Sure, we see the girls internally voice their defiant reactions, but that ain't what their bodies are saying. Their internal struggles as they combat reason and logic versus pure animalistic desires is noteworthy. I just selectively choose to ignore all the mindless fucking dialogue. They may attempt to gather the motivation to persevere for the sake of their comrades and friends, However, their fate was sealed the moment they fell in battle. Kuru Inu establishes that might rules this world and the strong control the weak. If you desire something, you gather the strength to take it, even if that means trampling over and abusing the weak. A ruthless ideology for sure. This is the service nation after all, an abhorrent tyranny that forces women and the weak into servitude. Kuru Inu enforces animalistic pleasure and enjoyment, while making a pretty little buck out of it. So let me ask you if you lost yourself in your desires. Was it worth it? Well, I mean, you're stuck with it, so might as well enjoy it. Now, one important note if you do decide to pick this up on Steam, which is honestly just impressive that both Kuroinu 1 and 2 are there to begin with, you will also have to pick up the off-site patch for the full Kuroinu 2 gaming experience. The bottom half of the characters, and literally the rest of the game included. In summary, with Kuroinu 2, there isn't any deep thematic messages or grand epic fights. There's a bit, but at the end of the day, Kuru Inu is exactly what you expect it to be. So there's your recommendation. If you enjoyed this, you might want to check out this video over here or this one over here for a more general recommendation. And just remember, corruption is indeed a form of character development. It just takes a couple of dicks to break it in.